radnetwork.com and is for the private use of our audience. Production, account, or descriptions of this madness without the express permission of the Rad Network and Williams Broadcasting and Rob's Really Mean Lawyers is prohibited. So just it's the Rob and Steve Sports Show, a show all about the thrill of Rob's victories.
Young almost falls down, throws to the end zone. He caught it! Touchdown pass! Carolina!
And sometimes even the thrill of Steve's victories.
This would be the 5th pennant for the Red Sox since that 1918 season. Here it is. Ground ball to second. Reese. The Boston Red Sox have won the pennant. The Boston Red Sox earned this celebration here at Yankee Stadium with the biggest comeback in postseason baseball history.
And sometimes even Rob's defeats.
Good afternoon. We are here to introduce the new head coach of the San Francisco 49ers, Jim Tom.
Email the show at ras@theradnetwork.com. And now, the Rob and Steve Sports Show.
That we were into the thrill of Rob's defeats list, the announcement of Jim Tomsula as the 49ers head coach. Oh, those were good times.
You know, you've had a good life when that's your defeat. I mean, I got Billy Buckner's ball between his legs, Bucky Dent over the green monster. I have so many. If that's your biggest defeat, Rob, you're living a great sports life.
Yeah, and I wouldn't say this is a red pen moment. Not the biggest defeat, but I will certainly point out when I was putting together what I could of all these clips to symbolize or emblemize our wins and our defeats as fans of for me the Niners and the A's and such, and for you all the Detroit teams except the Tigers and then the Red Sox. It was much harder for me to find defeats for the A's and the standout. Oh my God, we were so close defeats. Oh, it happened to us again. Defeat. Obviously, the Kirk Gibson home run was easy for the A's side. That's the big one, right? But then the reason it was hard is I was trying to match all of yours, which isn't a kick to you. You know that. You just have these suffering teams that you root for, and you had so many defeats. I'm like, I'm running out of them. Oh, Jim Tomsula. There we go.
And so many are in like the top heartbreaks of all time. I mean, the Buckner and the Bucky Dent. That's two of the big those are right up there with the Kirk Gibson. It's hard to, I got a whole bunch more as you stated, but
yeah,
I tend to, if you're going to do it big.
Welcome to the show. It's Friday morning. If you're listening to us now, that's great. Watching later, fine. It's all at theradnetwork.com. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube. If you're a fan of those really fun, we have no idea what we're really talking about NFL conversations, this is the worst tease of all time. We may do that to end today's show. If we don't do it today, I promise we'll do it before the middle of next week, which you'll understand. But it's one of those fun, like we talk about all the time, guys sitting around in a bar just talking out our asses, have no idea what we're talking about. There's a reason for it. So we'll do that at the end because there's so much breaking news and, of course, baseball, basketball, hockey we have to get to. And we will start, actually, with the NFL. We've been following the story for you. We don't have all the details, but we do know there will not be any replacement officials working the NFL games. From a very pedantic view, no, a pedestrian view, talking to people that aren't super into sports, but are sports fans, talking to people who might casually bet at a sports book or even on DraftKings, the reaction I get from my buddies is good. Nobody wants replacement refs. I think there's still such a sour taste in the mouth from the Fail Mary and such, and I don't know how into what we've been discussing people are, but when I was texting back and forth with buddies, most of them were like, good, we just didn't need that. Okay, great. So we do have a deal. The NFL and the Refs Association announced about an hour and 20 minutes ago. They have agreed to a new CBA that will run through the 2032 season. Details have not been released at this point. The release from both agencies says it covers, quote, a wide range of issues, including economics, performance, and accountability. Tells us nothing, confirms only all the rumors are true. Money's part of it. We had heard the NFL was offering 6.5% raise a year. The refs wanted 10.5% per year. We had heard that the NFL was really bringing technology into it. The owners said back in February, New York gets to call down and say, hey, in Carolina, you screwed up and we want to be part of this right now while the game's going on. There's a rumor that wouldn't have been part of what the NFL refs signed today, that would be taken out. There was a rumor the NFL was hoping to get replacement refs so they could bring in even more technology. And then when the refs signed, they'd say, well, you're stuck with a new tech. We don't know. We just don't know about those things yet. We're going to. Maybe by the end of today's show, certainly by the weekend. Accountability, we heard a little bit yesterday. The rumor was the NFL was creating or wanted to create a bench of officials. Like, we're benching you because you suck. There's the accountability. The only thing we know, Steve, for sure, and I haven't even really seen some good rumors yet, is that we won't have replacement refs.
Yes, I've just read another article right before we went on and was pretty disappointed. They did not disclose. They said the wage part, as you said, between 6.5 to 10.5%, but they did say that they did agree to a bench. They did agree to more off-season training. They did agree to allowing accountability and your scorecard in order to work the postseason. So it was all of those things that I think you had brought up that you had heard yesterday. There was zero mention of technology at all. That was the one thing they left off. And my question for your friends that you were texting to is pretty simple. If they allow the technology, would you rather have the technology and the replacement refs than have the official refs with no technology? Because I think with the replacement refs and the use of technology, they're going to overrule any bad calls and straighten them out anyway. And that way we have the technology going forward. And this is a 7-year deal, not the 6-year deal they had talked about. But I'm curious what your friends would say if they'd rather have the use of the technology with replacement refs than the real refs and no technology.
This is why I think guys like you and I are Jack Nicholson and a few good men. We stand on that wall because they need us on that wall. They don't want to get into it. If you could break it down, I'm talking about guys who will make time on, we'll just use a traditional week, Sunday to watch their team. Other than that, if football's on, they'll watch it. If they can, they'll watch it. If it's not interfering with other things, they'll watch, and they want to watch it, but they have lives, family, things like that. These are the type of guys, they're NFL fans. I can talk to them about anything going on during the season, and they can speak intelligently. But if they've got a chance to play racquetball Thursday night, they're going to do that instead, okay? And so for them, it's good. It strikes, I don't know, we just don't need, it's just that knee-jerk, maybe the memory of replacement refs. If I followed up and said, well, hold on, I want to think about this a little bit. What if I said replacement refs, humans, but all of this technology? I think, since most of them are actually like my friends, they'd all go, oh, yeah, that's better. It's that whole, I don't want to see the sausages made thing. I just want to know it's done. It's just done. Okay, great. We have refs. We're happy kind of thing. I don't know how anybody argues with technology. I don't. The only argument against technology that I've heard that I agree with over the last 20 years that I think you and I have always agreed on is it is so frustrating when the technology shows what's right and either A, it's not used because by rule that can't be challenged, or B, the technology clearly shows that the call was wrong and it still isn't overturned. You see it, the refs see it, the announcers see it. How in the world? Those are the only two complaints I ever hear. And those are human errors, not technology errors.
Yes, you are right. They're human errors, and use the technology so we can eliminate as many human errors as possible without, and this is my big asterisk to this, without the disruption of the flow of the game. No one wants it. I would rather have bad calls and the game moves than we're sitting around for 10 minutes all the time just waiting on technology to tell us how to proceed.
Whether it tells you anything or not about what's in it, latest breaking news, the refs voted to approve the new CBA by a 116-4 vote. So 96.67% voted yes, meaning the refs loved it. Does that mean there's no technology? Does that mean there's accountability? Like when I hear things like they're open to off-season training, That sounds to me like anger management classes, which are a total waste of time. How much of this is there? So we'll see. We'll see as it leaks out, but there will not be replacement refs.
But it
Next,
looks, I was going to say, though, it looks like, and I think that's the article that I was reading that you're referencing. They were talking about scrimmages and stuff like that to allow them more access and more, officiating prior to the start of the season to get them fully prepared for the first week.
okay. Next item of breaking news is, will this story go away? We talked about it yesterday. All it's done is pick up steam at a time when there's plenty of other sports to talk about. Are Jaylen Brown's days as a Boston Celtic over? Over? Boy, this thing disintegrated quickly. He has become the scapegoat in Boston for the playoff disappointment. He went after the Celtics went 3-1 in the first round. Boston lost 3 straight games, obviously, to the Sixers, and Brown took heat for his poor analytics. Just throw everything out the window we were talking about yesterday about how he took this team, put them on their back. A lot of people said he should have been an MVP finalist. However, now it's like analytics sucked. The Celtics lost. We're mad. Oh, and then Jaylen Brown goes out and he says things in his post game and in his podcast. And is he now disgruntled? Is the team disgruntled? All of which, of course, leads to the rumor that will be the rumor in the NBA until something happens. Whether it's LeBron, whether it's Jaylen Brown, whether it's anyone else, it's always going to start with Giannis. So, of course, the Celtics could offer the Bucks a hell of a package. One of the Bucks' primary motives is finding a Giannis trade destination that will make him happy. Boston should be at the top of that list. Celtics, one dominant downhill scorer away from being a solid contender yet again. Giannis, check. Celtics would have another opportunity to go deep into the playoffs. Giannis likes that. Celtics like that. Couple first-round picks for the Bucks added in is only icing on the cake. Shouldn't affect the Celtics significantly in their title pursuits. This is the speculation on NBA.com. And Jaylen Brown may be into it. This year, when he was allowed to operate, 29 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists. Celtics won 56. And even after the Celtics lost in the playoffs, Brown said that it was his favorite NBA season because he was allowed to display his full skill set throughout the season. You would have told me this 12 hours ago, 18 hours ago, Steve, I would have said, this is that thing we do. It's just in the moment. This is not a story. And that may still be true. I'm surprised at how many legs it has this morning, making me wonder if there is something here.
The Jaylen Brown part becomes a little bit clearer. He's a little bit upset with the fact that he did not get the credit for carrying the Celtics. I don't think it's fair that he's getting the criticism for their failure in those last few games. He's not going to be able to go one-on-one with Embiid. It was the problem everybody saw going into the season. The Celtics didn't have a big guy. If you want to get on Kata, get on, they're big guys who couldn't do anything to slow that train down for the 76ers. I find it hard to believe any player in the NBA wants to be traded to Milwaukee or be drafted to Milwaukee. I'll be honest with you. I know they came out and went at Charlotte or whatever place, or Memphis, and I don't remember which NBA team, that they shouldn't have an NBA team there. I think LeBron came out and said they should remove them and move them to Nashville, Tennessee, or something like that instead. It kind of makes sense. I'm really hoping, and I have to believe after the Mavericks and Luka, that the Bucks are going to look. Giannis is available. Give me your best offer, and let's go through it. And if we don't like any, then we don't move them on. Jaylen Brown, a couple of firsts, sounds big, but where are the Celtics drafting? And if they get Giannis, it's at the back end of the first round every single year for 2 more years. That's not that enticing. I would rather, make a trade somewhere like OKC, because of the trades they made. They are the defending champions, and they still have a shot to get the number 1 pick in the NBA draft this year. Those are the kind of draft picks that I'm interested in. Go get some draft capital from the Wizards, or one of these teams that is going to draft within the top 12. Pick 30, it just isn't very exciting.
I just love that you refuse to let go this pipe dream of yours of Giannis to OKC. Not that I
I
wouldn't
would
love
love
it.
it.
I know. Every
And,
chance.
and watching last night's game, and I don't know if you watched at the end when it became garbage time, but they
Ugh.
bring on, Kayson Wallace. They bring on all these players. And I'm sitting there watching it going, you could just take 6 through 12 for OKC, and I think they would be a pretty competitive team. They're not making the playoffs, but can they run with the Kings? I think they could probably beat the Kings. The Wizards, although you got to take the tanking part in, and we
Right.
didn't really see, although the Kings, we saw the real thing. But if you can go to OKC, get a couple of firsts, go get one or two of these, we'll take your seventh player and your eighth player. At a certain point, OKC has to pay these players. They can't keep them all. Go give me a Jalen Williams, go give me, someone else, and just go see what you can do along with the first. I just, and OKC wouldn't lose anything.
I'd like to see OKC start 6 through 10 tomorrow night in LA, just for giggles. Yeah, you're probably going to win one here anyways. We'll
You'd probably see like a Laker, because right now OKC's an 8.5-point favorite. What are you looking at? Like Lakers 3 in that game at home against OKC, running 6 through 10.
All right, next update. This is self-imposed homework just because it was said out loud. I did some on-air homework and I didn't want to repeat it until I could confirm it, and I did. We were talking, I'm almost certain it was because, oh my God, the world was falling. Shohei Ohtani had gone 0 for 18, hitless streak. He finally got off the schneid. So we had to stop worrying about Shohei Ohtani becoming the worst batter in the history of time. And I made the point at the end that it is, within all this stupidity, it's a tribute to how great Ohtani is, that we actually start panicking at over 18. Like you said, Steve, Aaron Judge hits 159 in April, and everybody's like, put him down in AAA. No, they'll be fine. But you brought up Tony Gwynn, and you said some outlandish thing, like what is Tony Gwynn's longest at bats with it? Did he ever even go 0 for 18 or something like that? No, he didn't. Tony Gwynn's consistency was unmatched. His official longest hit streak by at bat is not widely cited, but we do know he never went more than hitless in back-to-back games, which he did twice in his career and twice in his stellar 1994 season. His longest overall streak by games was 14, but that was in 01 when he was a bench player. Doesn't count. He never went more than 2 games without a hit, not a base appearance, a hit, to put Tony Gwynn's skill into perspective as a hitter. He would have needed to go hitless in 1,182 consecutive at-bats to bring his career batting average down from 338 to 300.
Which he does not get the credit that he deserves on how great of a hitter he is. I always love it when you're watching games and Smoltz is there or whatever, and they just bring up Tony Gwynn's lifetime records against Hall of Fame pitchers. The Pedro Martinez's, the John Smoltz, the Tom Clavins, the Greg Maddox's, and he's still like 350s, like the worst. And they're like, what, 2 strikeouts and 280 at bats. If you combine them all, maybe he has 4 and like 600 at bats. It's crazy how good of a hitter he really was. And you just, he's got to go 2 seasons in a row playing full time every game, never get a hit, just to get back to 300, which is a Hall of Fame career right there at 300.
It's funny too, because having lived through the time, Tony Gwynn, Wade Boggs, and 2 amazing hitters, and they were always a little bit saddled with the forgive the crude expression, but they were saddled with the slapdick hitter thing. Remember Boggs suddenly found power at some point, and it was like, oh, now he belongs. And it's like Tony Gwynn was such an extraordinary pure hitter, but it's almost like Gwynn and Boggs are the poster boys for why the 90s became chicks love the long ball. It's like we just couldn't revere the artistry we were watching.
Yes, and a couple of things off of off of that with Wade Boggs. Wade Boggs, I said, he could hit 20 to 30 homers a season, but he's not going to hit 360. He's going to drop down to like 280 to 300. And he always said, my value is far more important to this team by me hitting 350 to 360 each season and putting runners on base in front of all of those other guys. Uh, and that one season, he sat back and said, look, I can prove it to you. I can do this, but this is not my game. With Tony Gwynn, and I use him along with Greg Maddux, in today's analytics, would Tony Gwynn even be given a shot at the major league level? I go to Luis Ariz, who 3-time in a row batting champion and got traded 3 times because nobody valued what he did, even though he continues to lead the league in hitting. If Tony Gwynn, because I don't think Tony Gwynn had the power. I think Tony Gwynn's a 10 to maybe 14 homers at best a season. I don't think Tony Gwynn gets the opportunity. I don't think Greg Maddux gets the opportunity in today's game. And these are 2 of the all-time greatest that we've watched in our lifetimes that couldn't play in today's game because where analytics is taking it. And that's a shame. That's my big rub on the analytics. I think they're taking the quality and these players that can actually play out of it because I can't throw 95 and I can't hit 25 home runs.
And you took the question right out of my mouth because when you started talking about Tony Gwynn, Wade Boggs, would they even make teams? Would they be allowed to flourish? And right away, I thought, you're always saying the same thing about Maddux. Hey, it was the time of the baseball. It's like there are so many superstars from the late 80s, early 90s that we had the conversation right about the NBA. Could they adapt to today's game? It's not about that. Would the game adapt to them? Would we even give them Greg Maddux? No. What, did he ever throw a ball in the 90s? 91?
I would say Maddux, if he topped 92 would be max, but he was mostly that 88, 89. And then you get into Tom Glavine, and I swear he was like 85, 86, it seemed. He seemed to be like mid to, a little bit upper 80s. But Maddux, he could touch just barely into the 90s, it seemed.
Boggs, by the way, played from 82 to 99. He hit double-digit homers twice.
I think it was 26 one year. Was it not 26?
It was not. Hold on.
Oh,
one year
okay.
was 94 when he was with the Yankees. He hit 11. But his big power season, the one I was thinking of, was 1987. He hit 24 home runs. He still hit 363 that year, but that's it. And that was the year. 87 was like, what is this guy doing? Weird way. And then the very next year, he went from 24 back down to 5, and then 3, and then 6, and then 8 home runs.
And look at his on base. I mean, the guy was always on base. He wasn't afraid to take a walk because it's that put me on base, let the big bats drive me in, but we start the chaos and we can score runs and get the crooked number on the scoreboard.
All right, next item in updates. We don't spend a lot of time talking about it. Not that I'm suggesting we're about to now. There is a storyline here that's just frustrating. Just as, things change, days gone by, no more black and white TV, and really the Kentucky Derby is irrelevant. So the Triple Crown is irrelevant, I should say. The Kentucky Derby horse race, this goes back to a conversation a couple weeks ago. We were talking about how boxing just was so huge in American culture, particularly 70s, 80s, early 90s, the Tyson years. Horse racing was such a thing in this country. It's like, you used to get dressed up to go on an airplane. You used to get dressed up to go to a horse race. It's nothing now. And we had the Kentucky Derby, and Golden Tempo ran it, and he won it. And now he's not going to run in the Preakness next weekend. So there's no Triple Crown again. Golden Tempo is the 3rd Derby winner in the past 5 to not enter the Preakness, the 6th time in 8 years that the Preakness will happen without a chance of a Triple Crown on the line. Some people call it load management for horses. Trainers don't like running it so soon after the Kentucky Derby, and others say, go a month, do the Derby in May, the Preakness in June, the other one in July. What's the other one? Belmont. Whatever. This bothers. I'm not a horse racing fan. I don't know anything about horse racing other than it's fun to watch when it happens. But this is like, it's an American institution. The Triple Crown means nothing. There isn't going to be one again. And it's just a crappy story to me when I heard it.
Yeah, but there's a few factors playing into that. In the olden days, a horse used to run like every 8 to 10 days. Now these horses don't even run once a month. They run once a month or even longer. So the wear and tear, the horses are not used to it. It's just how horse racing has changed. I would tell you the animal activists have gotten involved and all of that other stuff, which has changed the way that trainers run them out there. The other part that nobody wants to mention is uh, this horse is a closer. And we watch it. If you watch the Derby,
Oh,
you saw it was
out of nowhere.
way back. This is the short leg of the Triple Crown. This is the race he's at a huge disadvantage. If he ran that same race in the Preakness, which is next weekend, he doesn't have a chance. The Belmont is the longest one. So they're going to sit back. They're going to have the 6 weeks wait. They're going to prep the horse for the Belmont. It's the longest race. It plays to this horse's strength, even more so than the Derby did. You already won the Derby. You already have the stud fees, which is off the charts because you're a Derby winner. But now, if they can go and win the Belmont, it's two of the three legs. They chose to only run in two of the three legs. They're going to say it's for the health of the horse. We don't want to run it. The horse isn't used to running this many races this quickly as you have it with the three races in the 5 weeks. So you're able to satisfy them. And it gives them, well, what if? Well, we could have won the Preakness. I don't believe this horse could have won the Preakness at all, but we'll never know. And it's just where horse racing is gone. And the interest, horse racing had a huge interest because that was the only sport you could legally bet on up until the
Mhm.
70s. From that point on, it brought sports in. And from that moment on, as the younger generations have grown up, I mean, Rob, you have no interest in horse racing. I do, but most everyone I know, like our age and younger, has zero interest. So the whole people that are interested in horse racing, go to the track and all that, they're like 65 and up. Well, this class is dying off and will be dying off in the next, many years. And they've been saying it as long as I've been in the sports book industry. The horse racing's in trouble because they have not figured out how to attract young people to the track with interest. One of the things I will say though, and I used to take my kids to the track. Like hockey is fantastic live. To me, horse racing is the same thing. I don't think anyone, and if you get a chance to go to Del Mar, they have the paddock right out there in the middle. People can walk up. I don't think anybody can walk up, look at these horses, and go, they're not just magnificent animals. They are so beautiful, so big, so strong. They are wonderful, wonderful animals. And the experience of going to a track live is so much better than trying to watch horse racing on TV.
So, you're right. I'm not a horse racing fan. As I said, I grew up in the Bay Area, Golden Gate Field, 30 minutes away, and I went to a lot of horse races. I just never got into it. I can't exactly explain why. For my generation, I'm Gen X. Certainly, the younger generation wants very little to do with it. I do think a lot of that is the animal side of it, and there is some really bad practicing going on there. Most of it doesn't rise to the level of getting into the Triple Crown races, but there's a lot of it out there. But I loved it so much. You bring up Del Mar. When I was working in Southern California as an 18-year-old, I drove down to Del Mar just to watch racing because you're right. It's like hockey. It's like a college football rivalry game. It's this one of these things. If you're a sports fan, you got to do a NASCAR race. You got to do it in person once. But I don't see and to the point of the conversation, I don't begrudge the Golden Tempo people at all. Everything you said is why I wouldn't run that horse.
Mhm.
There's no reason. Yes, their generational wealth is set. They won the Derby, the one that everybody knows. I'm sitting here doing a sports show going, what is that? Oh yeah, Belmont. It's like they won the one that matters. I get it. There's lots of things athletes do or trainers do that's good for them and not great for the sport. That's why I do like the analogy of load management. This is like horse load management. Hey, sorry, we're just not going to do the Triple Crown anymore. And you're right. I know this sport's the way of the dodo. It's going away. It's just see, Golden Temple, I get it. 6 of the last 8 haven't been up for the Triple Crown. I presume mostly for the same reason, but it's meaningless now. The Derby is all that matters. The Derby.
Yes, but roll back to prior to our first Triple Crown winner when we were at it's been 37 years in a row. Triple Crown was huge at that time because we hadn't had it in so long. But then we hit, and I don't know, we hit like 4 in a 9-year period, and it was like, big deal. Another Triple Crown winner. Who really cares?
Right. It's become like no hitters in baseball.
Yeah,
right.
it's like, nah.
Big deal. No, I don't need to change the channel. Oh, they took the guy out. It's a bullpen no hitter. Nah, all right. No, nobody cares.
Rob and Steve continue next, only on the radnetwork.com.
Longtime advertiser Sue Berry, that's Berry with an A, is more important now than ever. Sue and her team have been serving Northern Nevada and the outlying areas for 30 years, and her experience in both commercial and residential lending is vital, as every day we're bombarded with news of interest rates, the market, the economy, and a bunch of other stuff that Sue can actually make sense of while everyone else's eyes glaze over. Now remember, it's Sue Berry with an A, B-A-R-R-Y, SueBerry.com. Most people think berry is spelled like a fruit or Halle Berry, but no, it's Sue Berry with an A, like soul singer Barry White's first name.
I've heard people say,
stop that. Sue is a broker versus a retail lender, which means she can shop over 150 different lenders to get you the very best rate possible. And on average, someone who uses a broker like Sue saves over $10,000 per loan, which includes refinancing. And if you have a rate at 6.5% or higher, call Sue for a free quote now on a refinance. Sue Berry and her incredible team from Barrett Financial can be found at SueBerry.com. That's Berry with an A. I've been working with Sue and recommending her to you for years. All you need to do is call her now so she can get you pre-approved. Just call your residential and commercial lending expert, Sue Berry, at 775-843-9983. Oh, Rob, stop. You're going too fast. What was the number again? 775-843-9983. Or just head to SueBerry.com. The number's right there. Berry is B-A-R-R-Y. Sue Berry with an A.com. That's Sue Berry, B-A-R-R-Y.com. SueBerry.com.
Disclaimer, Sue Berry, NMLS number 366040, Barrett Financial Group, LLC, NMLS number 181106, Nevada 5091, Equal Housing Opportunity.
Longtime maggots will remember Greg from MAP. M-A-P, as in Maximum Athletic Performance, which guides you to better output through better ingredients, also known as nutrition. Greg has been on the Rad Show many times and will be again, as he simplifies nutrition and helps us all understand what actually works when it comes to fueling our bodies, almost all of which can be found at maptrition.com. Every product is formulated with clinical precision and backed by science and purpose, and maptrition.com has something for every fitness level, even those of us who barely have a fitness level. With nearly 20 years as a nutritionist and a specialization in sports nutrition, Greg works with athletes and everyday individuals to optimize performance, energy, and overall health through smarter fueling strategies, all of which starts at maptrition.com. At the very least, we should all be taking daily multivitamins, and Greg has his formulated for exactly what a man or woman's body needs. Protein is in, but maybe instead of getting yours from mac and cheese with extra protein, you get it from maptrition.com. And of course, all things workout, training, and exercise are available as well. From pre-workout to creatine and other muscle builders to recovery supplements and more, all at maptrition.com. From morning breakfast essentials to post-workout recovery and everything in between, maptrition.com's full range of supplements, proteins, and wellness products are built to power your journey from start to finish. Check out all the products and find what's right for you and order it shipped to you, all at maptrition.com. That's maptrition.com.
know those guys you see in a sports bar laughing and enjoying each other and just talking sports? That's this. Back to the Rob and Steve Show. Email them, ras@theradnetwork.com.
Working our way through a few more updates. The biggest update, there will be no strike by the NFL refs. We will have no replacement refs for the NFL this season. There are other things we have to work our way through, though, too, before we get to the NBA, the playoffs, a lot of baseball news and such. This NCAA college proposal is out there. We had an update yesterday from the coaches committee. Now the oversight committee voted yesterday to adopt a proposal that allows conferences the flexibility to choose a 5-7 team that has met certain academic standards to fill bowl game opportunities if there aren't enough other deserving teams. Forgive me, I'm reading this for the first time. It just came through while we were doing our first segment. Under the proposal, if all deserving teams have been selected for bowl games and all schools that meet an exception other than the exception for 5-7 teams have been selected, that's 5 wins, 7 losses. If you're not following, sorry, numbers can be hard when spoken. And they have an unfulfilled bowl commitment. You can choose which of your 5-7 teams will participate in the bowls. I think I've heard you say this, Steve, so I don't want to claim it as a unique idea. Can we just get rid of most of these bowl games and be done with this?
If they went to the 64 teams in the college playoff system, you would just, or 32. Because if you go 32, I think you get like 33 bowl games, which would replace all the bowl games. The first round would be filled with all the smaller bowls as you work your way up to the championship game being the biggest bowl. And that's how the bowl games. Nobody cares for the bowl games. There's no interest in them. To allow 5-7 teams to go to these shows how bad a football it really is. But the interesting part of that article that I found was based on academic achievement. And believe me, I'm all for colleges and getting your degrees and all that other stuff. But is this going to be the academic bowl? I mean, if we're dropping to 5-7, it's now based on your grades, not based on your team ability. That was kind of interesting. And the conference gets to pick. So if you're in the MAC conference, the MAC conference determines out of, Miami, right, Ohio, Central Michigan, which team goes in, but not based on football ability. Look, we were a good team like Clemson that performed poorly, or Florida State the other year. It's going to be okay. What's the GPAs for all the athletes on the team, or where do we stand? And that's how they're going to determine it.
Yeah, nothing's final until it's reviewed by the Division I cabinet in June. The problem is a lot of this stuff that leaks because it's kind of basically been agreed to. And if you don't see the angle as to why they're not going to do it, which obviously money is always the reason to do something. I don't know. The bowl games have gotten so insignificant to me anyways over the years that this just seems to be saying, yeah, we're not even trying anymore. A note from the NHL, the Flyers were frustrated by the officiating. This is an ongoing theme in both hockey and basketball now in the postseason. The Hurricanes' penalty kill and their own mistakes also cost the Flyers Game 3 last night. They're now 1 game away from being out of the playoffs. The Hurricanes are 7-0 in the playoffs after they swept Ottawa. Philadelphia had 38 penalty minutes and 14 minor penalties. As I said, Steve, this is a theme for a lot of people in the postseason. Do the Flyers have a point? Is the officiating taking sides? Is it being unfair to them? Are they just whining?
I think they're whining. They weren't going to win in the first place. They gave up 2 power play goals. And yes, I know you have to have the penalties in order to give that, but play some defense. Stop the power play goals. And they didn't do that either. They got outshot 31-19. I mean, where am I showing in this game that they outplayed? Game 2, yes. Game 2, the Flyers played great. This game, the Hurricanes are the better team. And I'll be honest, I'm getting a little tired of every losing team now blaming the refs. If that isn't that bring on the technology call, then I don't know what is.
How many baseball games this year have been placed at the foot of an umpire in terms of the outcome?
I don't think any. This is the first year I'm enjoying baseball this
Right.
year so much more than I have in the last 7 to 8 years. I'm no longer screaming at the box on my TV. Look, if it was a strike and the umpire calls it a ball and the catcher doesn't, challenge it, yeah, okay. I can live with that now. It's not even a thought. He had his opportunity. He didn't.
Right.
So bring it on. Allow us to enjoy these games. Don't bitch about it after.
And you're yelling at the right person. You're not yelling at the ref or the ump in that case. You're yelling at the
Right.
player. That's who we
Eh,
should be on. You idiot. You should have challenged that. And we've reported that's happening on the field. The bullpens, the dugouts are quiet. Nobody's yelling at the home plate umpire because you should be yelling at your batter or your catcher.
you would think that this would be a positive in that sense for the umpires, but that doesn't seem to be the case.
Since we're on the game, we'll jump to tomorrow. So tomorrow they're in Philly. Carolina's up 3-0. Tomorrow night, TNT. We kept saying this in the NBA. I know. We know the Flyers aren't going to win. Can we just end it tomorrow? Are we that ready for it?
I think we are. The Hurricanes are almost a $2 favorite in this game. uh, all they're doing is prolonging our pain. So what? They don't win it in four, they're going to win it in five. So just let us out of it. Let's keep the Hurricane story going that they just continue to sweep, their opponents in four games out of the playoffs, building up for that Eastern Conference final.
All right, different story, but still with hockey and still tomorrow night. We're not yet at the put them out of their misery phase, are we? With the Wild. They're at home. They're down 2-0, but this is their chance. They're in Minnesota. This is tomorrow night, 6 o'clock, TNT. Obviously, if they lose tomorrow, it's over, but Minnesota's still got a fighting shot here.
They do. I'm curious to see who they're going to go at in the net. Will it be Wallstedt? Will it be Gustafson? Neither one's been able to stop anything. Is Eric Ek going to be back? I don't know his injury update as of this point. They need him. They need to be at full strength to have any shot. And to be honest with you, even at full strength, they're really not beating this Avalanche team. This team is as good as any hockey team I've seen play. And understand that we had, Tampa Bay with multiple, Stanley Cups. We've seen it with Florida. But this Colorado team is even better than the Florida teams we've seen, just recently win the multiple Stanley Cups.
So that's tomorrow. You got TNT at 3 for Carolina at Philadelphia. You got TNT at 6 for Colorado at Minnesota NHL playoffs. You jump to tonight, which also takes us through the weekend. Tonight, we got Montreal at Buffalo. Buffalo's up by a game. No matter what happens, they'll play in Montreal on Sunday. These are the Cinderellas we keep calling them, and obviously Buffalo's the bigger Cinderella.
And as we all know, I'm pulling for the Sabres. I want to see them advance. I'd love to see them win the Stanley Cup. Really good team. They figured out and put it together. It's a great Cinderella story. But this Montreal team's not going to lay down. They're playing them tough. They're playing them to the end. I expect it, to be another hard fought game. And I'm just hoping, and it wouldn't shock me if Montreal wins a few of these and it goes deep into the series. But I'm hoping the Sabres can win because I really want them to advance.
And then you got the other one. 2 games again tonight and then Sunday. The Las Vegas Golden Knights are at Anaheim tonight, 6:30 on TNT. Sunday at 6:30 on ESPN. And the series is tied 1 game apiece.
Yeah, I'm getting a little frustrated with Anaheim. They're playing a little too good of defense. I don't expect that. I don't want it. Dostal's been outstanding in game one, even though they lost. They played great again this game two where they won. I'm sorry, Anaheim. You need to get back to that team that struggled down the stretch to get into the playoffs. I don't need to see this Anaheim team. And Vegas is playing good. I mean, they've put it together, but hot goaltenders, a strong, power play, that's your difference makers. And that's what it's going to come down to in this game.
I mentioned at the top of the show, if we have time at the end, which would be like an hour from now, we're going to do like just one of those fun, hypothetical NFL type conversations, sports bar conversations. We can't do it today. We have early next week, which you'll you'll understand. We had the breaking news: no refs strike. We will not have replacement refs in the NFL. At NFL, we don't know much more than that. Here's what we do know: oh, the NFL. I do love them. I do respect them so much. I don't always agree. They're so funny the way they just have to. They're such control freaks. We just got done with the draft, and then we get here's the odds on who's going to be the top draft next pick, and here's the power rankings based on the draft, and what's next, and what's next. And there was a rumor. Well, the schedule's next. The schedule's in the middle of May. Wait, maybe it's getting delayed. Is it getting delayed because of the refs? Is it getting delayed because of this TV project? Is it getting delayed because of Aaron Rodgers? All right, last night, I don't know about you, Steve, but I was there. Before the NFL announces the regular season schedule, it announces the announcement will be made. And before that, it does what it did last night. The NFL announced that the announcement of the announcement is coming. I am not making this up. 7:30-ish, 6:30-ish last night. Bling! Email notification from the NFL about the announcement of the schedule. And that's all it was. It was an email blast sent last night. The NFL announced that the schedule release is almost here. If you click on it, that's all it said. I just start laughing. Thank you. We now know it's almost out. That was last night. Earlier today, Alex Sherman of CNBC reported that the NFL plans to announce the schedule, as I originally thought, next Wednesday or Thursday. Okay, I've always been saying the 13th, next Wednesday-ish is what I thought. That was this morning, CNBC, although it could still be pushed back to the 18th. That was this morning. And then right when we came on the air today, I mean, they just control. Oh, you want to talk about Jaylen Brown? You want to talk about the Knicks? How about this? Let me talk about the NFL. The NFL announced they will, and now it's a 2-day affair. The league's international slate of games will be revealed Wednesday. So on the 13th, so I get half credit, we will be told about all of the international games on Wednesday. There's 9 international games on the docket. The matchups for 2 of them have been announced. The Niners and Rams, week 1. On Thursday Night Football, the opener will be on Wednesday. The Cowboys will face the Ravens in Rio in week 3. Those are the only 2 we know for sure. We do know one team in each of the other 7 games because, you release the opponents. We know the Jags will play in London twice. The Commanders will be involved in the 3rd game in London. Niners will be in Mexico City on top of Australia. Falcons will be in Madrid. Lions will be in Munich. Saints will take part in the NFL's first game in Paris. But see, we don't know who. And we don't know when. And you'll get that information on Wednesday. And then on Thursday, you will get the regular season schedule. So the NFL, it's just, bravo. Mwah. Chef's kiss. An announcement that the announcement is coming, an announcement that you're going to get international games on Wednesday, and then an announcement that you're going to get the full schedule next Thursday.
I'm going to build on that a little bit because how my last night played out. And I don't know if I texted you any of this, but I had reached that point and then I maybe just didn't send it because I got the same thing. I got the alert. Hey, look here, check it out. The Lions schedule has been released. Well, no, it hasn't been released. No. And they wouldn't tell me the date. It was just, it's coming. And I'm like, this is messed up. Mm-hmm. So shortly after that, I'm reading an article and they're talking about how they're going to take those games, the 4 games that they're packaging, and they're going to split them with Netflix. And I think it was Amazon Prime. So they're like, we have these 4 games and they're going to split it. A little while after that, I get another story that said that Netflix now is going to get all of them and may get up to a 5th. So I'm bouncing around going, they're teasing me with the schedule up. I can't give you the release date because we're deep in negotiations here. Okay, we have these 2 that we're going to divide it to. Now it's just a Netflix. I can't keep up. So my whole night last night seemed I was focusing on trying to just figure out where the package of up to 5 games is going because I have conflicting stories and the fact that they won't even tell me the date, even though it looked like it was going to tell me the date. They didn't because, well, maybe of this package deal. So I was scratching my head frustrated last night going, here they are again. They just continue to tease me. They don't give me anything absolute. And I got to write it out till you explained it this morning.
Well, and this is the thing that I wonder about. What did they know last night? Like, was all of this premeditated, or was it because last night was the announcement that there will be an announcement? It's a non-announcement. This morning, you mentioned everything that I've read. I've also seen the headlines that report it the opposite way, which is it looks like YouTube is going to be shut out entirely, which brings us back to what you said, Netflix and Prime or whatever. So, did something change overnight? Because all this reporting suddenly hit this morning, and that's why the NFL today, right before we went on the air, said, "All right, we're set. We know it's one of these. It's either Netflix, Amazon. I don't know. Go ahead. We'll do it Wednesday, Thursday." Or was this all premeditated and we're doing it? Who knows? Either way, yes, we knew nothing. All we know now is a week from today, we'll be able to do the show with the full schedule, the actual wins. But a week from yesterday, we'll only know the international games, which we hate with a white hot rage.
Yeah, and see, I took it as the original was going to be the announcement. Look, we're going to say this is when we're going to do it. And then it's, whoa, hold back. You got to just send it as a teaser because, our negotiations moved substantially after they were going to send that out. So then that's why they sent the teaser to the teaser as opposed to just the teaser to tell us the dates.
As I mentioned, one of the rumors, and it does really look like it's about the TV packages, but who knows? One of the rumors was, could they, honest to God, really also be waiting for an Aaron Rodgers announcement because then the Steelers deserve a primetime game? Well, I don't know if that's part of it, but we reported yesterday, news broke that Aaron Rodgers was heading to Pittsburgh. Initially, everybody thought, oh, okay, he's going to Pittsburgh, he's going to sign. Everything's normal, even though this has been a stupid process. No, like usual, it's the complete opposite of that. First of all, he is showing up not for a veteran workout session. He's actually showing up for rookie mini camp with reports that he wants to get the new players. Confirmed that the Steelers didn't, at least confirmed by local media, the Steelers didn't know that Aaron Rodgers was coming to town, and a source inside the Steelers put it like this, quote, "Aaron being Aaron," end quote. The Steelers were all in on this guy, like we've been saying. Whatever you want to do. It's a borderline, I don't mean to make light of this, but it's a borderline abusive relationship. It's like, whatever you want to do, we'll say yes. Sure, go ahead. Oh, okay, fine, we'll wait longer. Oh, okay, sure. Hovering over the entire situation is the absence of any type of agreement between Rodgers and the Steelers, and despite the ongoing insistence that it's not about the money, multiple sources this morning are saying it's entirely about the money. Duh. It's a veteran contract, the only thing not covered by the CBA. If they had an understanding, something would have leaked. Rodgers gave the Steelers the introductory rate in 2025. What was it? $13.25 million. 6.5 million. Steelers don't want to pay more. Maybe a slight adjustment for inflation. Rodgers, what is he? And so here's how they're breaking this down. A lot of people say Rodgers has no leverage. A lot of people say the Cardinals story was leaked by Rodgers. There's no interest. But now the Cardinals haven't said that I'm aware of. But either that's only one team of leverage. And from the Steelers' perspective, according to the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, the Steelers feel like they have no leverage because they think that Mason Rudolph and Will Howard are not an alternative. They're basically saying that off the record on background. So everybody thinks they've got each other by the cold and friendlies. The word is that there will probably be a deal by the end of this weekend with Aaron Rodgers making between 20 and 25 million based on incentives. And maybe this will all be over by the time we're on the air Monday.
I hope so. And here I thought it was going to tie into, wasn't the Jets GM that came out and said, we are talking to several veteran quarterbacks, to come in to our team. I'm like, hey, let's bring Aaron Rodgers back to New York. Let's send him there. It's not going to happen. And I don't want to, I just wish it would just go away. And as you were reading that, because I hadn't heard the updates with Rodgers, I was waiting for it to come out and say, oh, yeah, there's a concert in town in Pittsburgh that he really wants to see. And that's the whole reason he's going. And oh, by the way, somebody found out that he was arriving. So they tied to the Steelers when it's really not the Steelers at all.
That would be a great twist. I'm still not saying that's not happening. I don't know. I can't follow these. All right, so everybody's blaming the refs. Everybody's blaming something. Let's go to last night. Well, we're joking that could OKC starters 6 through 10 and beat the Lakers. They didn't have SGA again for a part of it. SGA was a cheerleader during what some would call the most important stretch of last night's game. The Lakers had a 5-point lead when SGA picked up his fourth foul. 86 seconds into the second half, so he's on the bench until the third quarter, or for the third quarter. By the time he comes back to start the fourth quarter, the Thunder leads by 13. The Lakers had a 5-point lead. SJ sits. Now they lead by 13. OKC does. They went on a 22-4 run. OKC's up 2-0. They play tomorrow night in LA. Meanwhile, bringing us full circle, Austin Reeves confronted crew chief John Goebel at center court following the game. And Coach J.J. Redick tore into the officiating during his post-game remarks. This is J.J. quote. I sarcastically said the other day, they're the most disruptive team without fouling. I mean, they have a few guys that foul on every possession, that OKC. They're hard enough to play. You've got to be able to just call them if they foul, and they do foul, end quote. Redick went on and said, and this is where it gets slightly laughable, try to control yourself. Redick went on to say the officiating has been particularly poor for LeBron James this series. Quote, LeBron has the worst whistle of any star player I've ever seen. Take a moment to sink that one in. Wow. Redick goes on to say, quote, I mean, I've been with him 2 years now. The smaller guys, because they can be theatric, they draw more fouls. The bigger players like LeBron, it's hard for them. He gets clobbered. He got clobbered a bunch tonight. LeBron scored 23 on 9 of 18 shooting, 6 assists, but he also expressed some frustration at the referees at several points of game 2, including pointing out that he had to absorb contact from OKC big man Jalen Williams, landed on the right hip on the floor. No call was made. Later, LeBron was jogging down the floor to start the Lakers' offensive possession, and he met Alex Caruso near the foul line. Caruso sold contact. Oh my God, he flopped, and James was called for an offensive foul? Wow, the irony. Go ahead.
Yes, this is, please believe your eyes. LeBron James is the most dramatic player in the NBA. He flops more than anybody anywhere. My question to JJ Redick is, don't you as a head coach go over a game film and sit there and study it? And if you're telling me that LeBron gets hit more than any other player in the face, etc., and they never call it, I see things that go towards LeBron and he bails and hits the ground in a dramatic fashion. And the replays show the guy wasn't within like 6 inches of him. So come on. I just, this is that garbage that he's sending out, but everybody who watches it, I don't know anyone who would say, no, LeBron doesn't flop, who's not associated with the Lakers.
This is look, first of all, I get any coach has to have his guys back for the most part, unless it's like abhorrently like the Valdez thing earlier this week with the Tigers. But you don't have to go so far. I also get it. JJ and LeBron, they had their little podcasts and their buddies and all that. The one that got me was what you're alluding to, not speaking of last night, but that quote where I had to pause. LeBron has the worst whistle of any star player I've ever seen. Are you kidding me? But that is so ballsy.
Yes. Not even close. LeBron gets more whistles. And the problem is because LeBron has always got the whistles, which is why I think he's such a flopper and has so much drama that anytime he misses a shot, oh, I had to have been fouled. Oh, I'm just going to pretend it. I'm just going to, fake it, and then they'll give me the call because I'm LeBron. So to say it's the opposite. They swallow their whistle more for LeBron than any player ever. I'm sorry. You should go to jail for that comment.
I can't quite tell if this is just emotional hope or if I really believe this, but I am at the point now where because we were talking yesterday, I don't even think the Lakers are going to win a game now. They're back in LA tomorrow. They're down 2-0. I'm wondering if look, you can scream and yell and try to get the officiating all you want, and get their attention. They're so outmatched. I just I expect it, actually, at this point. I expect it to be a sweep. They play tomorrow. They would play, and they'll play again on Monday.
And I'm going to ask you this question. Now you're watching this. I mean, the Lakers didn't even outscore the Thunder in the fourth quarter when it was a blowout and it was bench duty. Now, do you think, having watched this, put Luka in there, you got Reeves in there. Reeves played a good game yesterday. He 10 for 16 from the floor. He was as good as he is. You can't take that. So all you're doing is adding back in Luka. Do you really believe that the Lakers could have won this series with a fully healthy Luka? Or will you concede to me that, yeah, you know what, Steve, this is one of those, you're not right very often, but this is one you might have been right with, that the Lakers, even fully strength, could not have won this series?
Well, I mean, you're using that word that gives me an out. The could part, because if you put, and I believe we had this discussion in March, the March Luca, Austin, LeBron Lakers that went 15-2, if you put them with OKC, the Lakers could win that series. I never thought they would, but I was willing to make the case for it on April 1st. You couldn't do it now. You can't just insert Luca in. Now it's ridiculous. You can't insert him in. He's out of it. Could they have made a series out of it and it was fully healthy? I would have I did argue could. You were saying I won't believe it until I see him in the finals, and that's fine. So you basically had him at 0%. I think I had the Lakers at 25% on April 1st. That they could, and I know they played the Thunder horribly during the regular season, and 25 might be too high. But I absolutely understand now. They're done, no chance, and the only thing now is, are we going to start on Tuesday talking about what do the Lakers do next, or will it be extended because the Lakers choose to win one? Because that's what's coming next. What do we do in LA? What about LeBron?
Just imagine if the Lakers stole two. And we're going back to OKC tied 2-2. I'm just throwing it out there. Do I believe it? Not at all.
No, but you know what? Look, that ain't bad. That ain't bad, like, professionally, because now it really gets nuts. The Lakers win too. At home, yes, but they win too. Well, how did they win? Was it LeBron team on the back? Was it Austin Reeves? Are we going to start discussing, does Luka have a place in this? Is this LeBron? Oh, that's delicious stuff. I like that.
Maybe Rui Hachimura steps up, is involved in the offense more than he's been.
How about this? I like this. How about this? Lakers win tomorrow and Monday in LA, and they win it. There's no denying LeBron puts the team on his back. Everybody else plays well. They're good support. They do their job, but it's LeBron. It's the LeBron show. 2-2. We're back in OKC. Game 5. Luka comes back. Blown out. Next game. Luka. Blown out. Now, everybody, how many are going, well, yeah, but he hadn't played. And how many are going, Luka's the problem?
Wouldn't that would be fun. I'm with you on conspiracy theories, and I love the chaos. And I don't think LeBron can do it, and I don't think it'll play out. But I'll tell you, that is the one scenario that I would love to see happen, because now the Lakers go into their postseason, the offseason going, was Dallas right that they really can't win with Luka? He puts fans in the stands. He helps make us revenue, but come crunch time, like James Harden, he's just not going to ever really permit us to win a championship. So then is it like the Cowboys, the perception that we're ready, the perception that we're doing everything we can to win, the perception with the media, the fans, this is our year that never comes to be, or the actual reality of he's not going to allow us to win a championship? Which way do you go at that point?
Let's talk about the aforementioned James Harden, because it's tomorrow night. OKC plays at LA. That's at 5:30 on ABC. Before that, at noon on NBC. and/or Peacock. The Detroit Pistons are at the Cavaliers after Cade Cunningham had 25 points, 10 assists. Tobias Harris 21 as the Pistons beat the Cavaliers 107-97 last night. They're up 2-0. Donovan Mitchell 31 points, Jared Allen 22 points, but that James Harden guy missed 10 of 13 shots. He was limited to 10 points. It is the second straight game in this series, fourth time in 9 postseason games that Harden has finished with more turnovers than field goals. Donovan Mitchell, teammate, got his back. Quote, he's James Harden. We're not sitting here worried. He's going to figure this out, end quote. Well, he never has, Donovan. Okay. Harden himself says I'm just missing shots. Second half, I think I took 2 shots, but the ball was moving. We're getting better shots, blah, 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 blah. Okay, go ahead, Dave.
I kind of lost my train of thought in a sense, but he turned the ball over in a key situation. And we're not talking just 9 games in his playoff career. It's like 80 some, 90 some games he's had. He has done this consistently time in and time out. And this is what I brought up, in earlier in the week or last week's show with the more turnovers than the field goals made. He consistently has done this. And if it's not the tied for the most with, I think it's Kendrick Perkins, because even Charles Barkley was bringing this up on the show, just talking about you can't have this. You can't do this and be a quality player. You're too good of a player. It shouldn't happen, period. But it's happened in like 25% of the games he's played.
So that continues tomorrow. Tonight, you got 2 NBA games. You got to have Prime Video if you want to see them at 4 o'clock. The Knicks are at Philadelphia. The Knicks are up 2-0. This is I haven't heard, is Embiid playing?
Still listed as questionable. It's something I've been keeping my eye on.
This is the game, right, where he asked all the fans, don't sell your tickets. Don't let there be a bunch of Knicks fans here. We're down 2-0. Obviously, you don't need some jerk on a radio show to tell you the Sixers have to win if they want to have a chance at all. And they played a lot better without Embiid in game 2. What do you think tonight, Steve?
Yeah, I think they can win without him. I don't think they can win the series, but they might be able to steal the game tonight. It's a 1.5 point favorite with the Sixers, the favorite in this game. So the early odds makers have them a slight favorite to win the game. I'd like to see Joel Embiid in there, but I don't want to see a shell of him. I don't even want to see him at 70% of who he is. I want him at 100% because he is that dominating force inside that is pretty much unstoppable when he's healthy. I just wish he could stay healthy. It'd be a whole different look at him. And the Knicks, I think they need to lose a game here, get a little fight, and I'd like to see the Sixers come up big.
And then the late game at 6:30 on Prime, San Antonio at Minnesota. This seems like the series that has the potential to be the series. Depending, Minnesota, they're back home. It's tied at 1-1.
Yeah, what Wolves team's going to show up? We've been asking this for the whole season long. What team's going to show up? Right now, the Spurs are a 5-point favorite in this game. And unless the Wolves show up, have a great game, I can't lean towards the Wolves in this game. I hope Wembanyama blocks a bunch of shots again, but I hope he can keep it going on the offensive end. And I want to see Julius Randle have a nice game. I have not checked on Anthony Edwards. I'm sure he's out for this game. Otherwise, my game, if he was even a possibility at questionable, we would have this game circled, and it's not right now. So I have to believe Anthony Edwards is not cleared to play or even resume, the full-on contact practices. Because where we saw Reeves for a couple of games of, hey, he's getting ready, he's probably, he's questionable, and then he gets ruled out. Haven't seen anything with Edwards.
By the way, yesterday, because we didn't touch on that, we were talking about the Knicks and the Sixers and everything. Yesterday, you said that if the Anunoby thing, it could be a big deal. And the last I've heard is it's day to day. I don't have an update for. He is questionable for tonight against the Sixers.
I don't have an update on him either. I think he's a big part of this, and he's one of those players that doesn't get a whole lot of recognition, but helps drive this offense and keep some defenses honest. He's the workhorse. Karl Anthony Towns is the flashes of brilliance and then a lot of lackadaisical play is kind of the way I view him. Jalen Brunson's just an incredible offensive force, but doesn't play the defense. And Karl Anthony Towns doesn't play that much defense either. But OG, he does it all, offensive side, defensive side. He's that player you really want on your team.
Rob and Steve continue next, only on the radnetwork.com.
Longtime maggots will remember Greg from MAP. MAP, as in Maximum Athletic Performance, which guides you to better output through better ingredients, also known as nutrition. Greg has been on the Rad Show many times and will be again, as he simplifies nutrition and helps us all understand what actually works when it comes to fueling our bodies, almost all of which can be found at maptrition.com. Every product is formulated with clinical precision and backed by science and purpose, and maptrition.com has something for every fitness level, even those of us who barely have a fitness level. With nearly 20 years as a nutritionist and a specialization in sports nutrition, Greg works with athletes and everyday individuals to optimize performance, energy, and overall health through smarter fueling strategies, all of which starts at maptrition.com. At the very least, we should all be taking daily multivitamins, and Greg has his formulated for exactly what a man or woman's body needs. Protein is in, but maybe instead of getting yours from mac and cheese with extra protein, you get it from maptrition.com. And of course, all things workout, training, and exercise are available as well. From pre-workout to creatine and other muscle builders to recovery supplements and more, all at maptrition.com. From morning breakfast essentials to post-workout recovery and everything in between, maptrition.com's full range of supplements, proteins, and wellness products are built to power your journey from start to finish. Check out all the products and find what's right for you and order it shipped to you all at maptrition.com. That's maptrition.com. If you've never heard of microseal, let me tell you what it isn't. It is not a really small marine mammal. Get it? A microseal? Oh, fine. Just ask AI. AI describes microseal this way with a bunch of AI words. Microseal is a premium, eco-friendly, and biodegradable fabric protection spray that penetrates deep into fibers to provide permanent stain, soil, and sun fade resistance for rugs, furniture, and delicate fabrics. It uses nanotechno blah 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 and blue 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 blue. What AI is trying to say is that microseal is non-toxic, non-allergenic, safe for pets and children, and although AI doesn't say this, it should, you need to contact a longtime maggot Joel from AdvantageSteam.com right now to get him to apply microseal for you. You can even make appointments online at AdvantageSteam.com. We've had microseal for years at Williams Manor, and it treats a lot more than carpets. Microseal protects virtually all fibrous materials, including wool, cotton, silk, suede, leather, and synthetic fabrics. It protects upholstery, carpets, rugs, draperies, and clothing, including wedding dresses. And ladies, you're going to need what? 3 or 4 of those in your lifetime. And it protects against stains, moisture, and UV degradation without changing the texture. Also, if you're an interior designer, Joel has a special program just for you, and all you have to do is say the password, which is what? What? There's no password, I guess. Never mind. Whoever you are, contact Joel at AdvantageSteam.com. And if you're an interior designer, tell him, I guess. I don't know. That's AdvantageSteam.com, where you'll learn more about microseal and everything else that Joel offered. At AdvantageSteam.com. That's AdvantageSteam.com. AdvantageSteam.com.
Just two friends talking sports and only sports. Unless Rob goes off on one of his tangents. Email the show, ras@theradnetwork.com.
We were talking earlier, and baseball came up, and Steve, you were commenting, this is the most fun I think you said you've had watching baseball. Me too. It's a fun season, the ABS. It's interesting, too, because there's a lot of storylines that are developing, and they're not all exciting, right? I mean, we keep talking about, there's a couple divisions, razor thin, who knows what's going to happen. There's a couple where it's like, it's early May. Is there even a race going on here? Or it's a 2-team race? Either way, It has been fun, and there's been a lot of injuries. There's been a lot of things that matter. Cincinnati Reds pitcher Rhett Lauder is the latest to exit his start yesterday against the Cubs. Bottom of the fourth, right shoulder discomfort. He threw 59 pitches rather, and then said, I've been working through some stuff. Manager Terry Francona said, it's MRI time for Lauder and the Reds, who continue to struggle. They are now officially in last place. They have won 2 of their last 10. They have lost 7 in a row. They're 6 back of the Cubs in the National League Central, which was one of those more bunched races that is getting less bunched, with the Cubs extending their winning streak to 9 games over the Reds. Michael Conforto went 3 for 3 with a homer. Let's start with, I guess, the Reds, Steve. They'll throw Nick Lodolo with his season debut against the Astros, and I don't have who the Astros might be starting yet.
Burrows.
Burrows. All right. Well, there's a couple of winning franchises right now. The Reds
Yeah.
and the
Yeah, the Rhett Lauder, I'm hoping it's nothing serious. He is one of those good, young, promising pitchers, top prospect for the Reds. But with Nick Lodolo coming back, he's coming off a finger injury. It will be his season debut. He's one of the aces on this team that they were looking forward to. He's probably their number 2 man. Hopefully he's ready and they're not rushing him due to this injury. But the Reds, they need some help. They're not playing well. They scored and won all of those close games. This series against the Cubs, I think, really hurt them, losing all 4 and the way they did. I mean, they gave up runs. They lost in extra innings. 2 of those 4 games, blowing leads. Just the Cubs are on such a roll now. Luckily, the Reds are playing the Astros, and they can find a way to bounce back here. Houston's just not a good team. 5-5 in their last 10. Burrows is nothing to write home about. As you were saying, here we go. Lodolo is the better pitcher, but the question is how healthy is he, and how long is he going to be able to go, because it will be his first start of the season.
Quick update on Lauder via SI 22 minutes ago. Not going on the IL just yet. The MRI on his shoulder was good, and there is no structural damage. He got an injection to his AC joint. He could throw in a side session Sunday, and they'll go from there. So that's the latest on Lauder. Meanwhile, the Cubs in their, 9-game winning streak? Is that what it's up to? Good Lord.
Yeah.
They are at Texas. So you got the Reds. They're on their way to play Houston. The Cubs, who've just gotten through with the Reds, they're on their way to play at Texas. It's Brown and Rocker tonight.
Yeah, Bruce. Ben Brown's going to be an opener, I believe. I don't think he's going to go long. It's a good spot for him. Texas can't score many runs. So we'll see where that one can fully go. Rocker throws hard. This kid can bring it, but he has no clue of the strike zone. When you talk Wild Thing, this is one of those guys that comes to my mind, whether or not when he can throw strikes, he's close to unhittable. He just doesn't do it very often. Cubs looking to extend this streak on the road. At a certain point, you got to figure they're going to lose, but they're catching that lightning in a bottle right now. Everything they do is winning. It's exciting to watch them. They're playing as a team. It's a different hero every night, and they're going to be a tough team come postseason if they can keep playing the way we believe they can.
Rocker, more or less in control than Mitch Williams?
Man, that's I would say Mitch Williams probably has a little bit more control. Yeah, and he was the Wild Thing. That was his nickname.
So again, talking about these early May, lots can change, but a lot of these divisions are starting to turn into this. Is it a 1 or 2 team race? And we'll see. The NL Central a week ago was super bunched. Now the Cubs go on this 9-game winning streak. Reds on a 7-game losing streak. Everybody else is like back forth. Cubs are up 3.5 over the Cardinals, 5 over the Pirates, 5.5 over the Brewers, 6 over the Reds. Yes, it's unsustainable for the Cubs to keep winning game after game after game, but they are starting to put distance there. And like you said, they could be really dangerous if they just maintain that distance and get into the postseason. And who even knows? I mean, certainly right now the Cardinals are good enough to be in the wild card race. I think we're all still stunned that the wild cards are this good. Or the Cardinals are this good.
Yeah, I think everybody's still stunned the Cardinals are this good. And take the Reds, for instance. I mean, they're in last place. They're 20-18. They're above 500, and they've lost 7 in a row. So they're playing as bad as they could be. This is, I'm hoping this stays a competitive division and the Cubs just don't run off with it. But I expect the Reds to drop here. And I can't take away from the Brewers. I mean, right now you were talking about exciting baseball. The Brewers, the White Sox, uh, and the Tampa Bay Rays. These are teams that are fundamentally solid, don't rely on the big home run. They go first to third on a base hit. They steal bases. They advance runners. It's been the Brewers for the last couple of seasons. But Will Venable's taken over as the manager of the White Sox. He's playing that same thing. This is an aggressive White Sox team. I'm glad to see they have success. I don't think they're very good, but it's just even the bad teams I'm finding are much more enjoyable to watch because they're doing things. I've seen more bunting, I think, in the first, 4 or 5 weeks of this season than I have seen like the last 3 years combined. It's wonderful. I love it.
Speaking of the Brewers, all right, so they're in that bunched up National League Central. They're 5.5 back of the Cubs. And then you have the American League East, which is one of these divisions that seems like it's a two-team race if it's anything. Yankees by half a game over the Rays, 9 over the Orioles, 9.5 over the Blue Jays, 10 over the Red Sox. Yankees will be without outfielder Jason Dominguez, expected to miss a few weeks because of a left shoulder sprain after he crashed into the wall yesterday. I think it was in the first inning. The Yankees won 9-2 against the Rangers. Dominguez was taken to the hospital. MRI. That's how we know they got the sprain. So the Yankees said, that's fine. We'll just call up Spencer Jones, 6'7" power hitter, base stealing lefty with a penchant for striking out. That's his thing. He will be on the Yankees roster. He posted a 958 OPS with 11 homers for AAA. Also struck out 32.5% of the time. So Jones will be part of the Yankees. And lucky Milwaukee, they get the Yankees. They get him in Milwaukee. But here we go. Max Fried on the mound for the Yankees. Is this where the separation begins for the Brewers, or you were just touting? It's like, you got a weekend with the Yankees, buddies.
And this is a great test for them. This is a great pitching matchup. I mean, we all know about Max Fried, but Mizorowski is, I believe, one of the top young pitchers in baseball. I compared him to Paul Skeens last year to give you an idea of how highly I view this guy. He has control. He's walked 15 batters in 38 innings to give you an idea, but with 59 strikeouts. So he is a strikeout machine. He is a dominating pitcher. When he is on, he literally is unhittable. So this is going to be a great test. Can they hold up with the Yankees? And on Spencer Jones, as you said, he's 6'7". The thing you didn't mention is he's cut down on his strikeout rate to get to only 32% strikeout rate. You look at him in the box, he's got a little unorthodox of a batting stance, but he can hit for power. The big question is he going to be a 4A player, as in too good for AAA, too many holes in his swing to succeed at the major league level? He's got blazing speed on top of it. He has never hit the approach. And I've watched him play a couple of games of understanding you may want to just put the ball in play. It is, and I don't know if you remember, Sammy Horn came up first baseman for the Red Sox. This guy, every cut he took, he swung for the moon. I'm going to hit the ball out of this atmosphere. And Spencer Jones reminds me a lot of that. Contact means nothing to him. If he's going to hit it, he wants to hit it 500 feet.
Yankees also looking with their bullpen to get stronger. And then we keep talking about the Dodgers and the same thing. The Dodgers still have help coming. And we've been focusing on rotation and what's going on with them. Oh, and by the way, Mookie Betts is set to begin his rehab assignment today for AAA. And he is on track to return to the Dodgers, who so desperately need him, next week, as the Dodgers open up a 7-game home. Now, the Dodgers have been, by Dodger standards, right? Oh, my God, Shohei's 0-for-18. What are we going to do? Okay, he ended that history. Dodgers, why do they keep winning one, losing one? Oh, my God, they're 500 over the last week. Right, well, they're still the Dodgers, 23-14, a game up on the Padres, a plus 77 run differential, which is second in the league only to the opponent of the weekend, the series of the weekend. The Braves are at plus 79 with the best record in baseball, tied for it technically with the Cubs. Braves are 26-12, and the Braves are opening a 3-game series today against the Dodgers in LA. Chris Sale at Sheehan for the Dodgers.
Yeah, and you hit on it. This is the series of the weekend. Both teams playing great ball. The Braves coming with Chris Sale, who is having another outstanding season, just like he did last year. His whip is 0.9. He's K'd 49 and 42 innings. He's only given up 10 runs. He has been outstanding in his last couple of outings. He's gone 13 innings. His last 13 innings, he's only given up 1 run. And to give you an idea how dominant the Dodgers really are, and I know the Dodgers at home, but they're throwing Sheehan, who's good at times. He's a good pitcher, but he's that mediocrity. You know, his whips like 1.3 something. So he puts a decent amount of runners on base. He wins because he's with the Dodgers. But the Dodgers are still favored over Chris Sale, over the Braves, who are playing 684 baseball, tied for what? The best record in baseball, and they're still a dog on the road with everything going for the Braves. Just shows how good this Dodgers team is. And I'm looking forward to it because I honestly believe the Braves, if they're going to steal one, they really need to steal this first one. And we've seen the Dodgers struggle, but that's been much more on the road. They're 11-8 away. They're sitting at 12-6 at home. So they have played much better at home than on the road this year.
By the way, I did shortchange one team. I said that the Braves were tied for best record in the majors. They are with the Cubs, who are also at 684. So are the Yankees, though. They're at a 684 winning percentage. And you hit on my next question, Steve. So, look, this is one of those series that's fun in May, doesn't determine anything, but it may tell us something. How do the Braves play coming into Los Angeles? And you brought up, is today the one that they have to steal? Because tomorrow night, the Braves, they're going to throw Strider at Sasaki. And on Sunday, the Braves are going to throw Elder at Wroblewski. So it is, I mean, this is such a great matchup, all 3 of these games.
It really is. And as you said, Spencer Strider's really the ace of this team. He's been hurt. He's coming back. He had a poor first outing. I mean, he wasn't good at all. We'll see if he gets his control under wraps for this next one. But the Dodgers, I mean, Wroblewski going Sunday. This kid's like 5-0 or something like that. Had an outstanding season. And you're going, who is he? But this is where the Dodgers, with all their talent, they just keep rolling them out there. I'm hoping the Braves can win 2 out of 3 because I think that will keep that momentum going. As look, we really can compete with the Dodgers. Who knows? We could be the team in the National League along with the Cubs, because it's really those 3 teams that possibly could go to the World Series. If they go into LA and they lose all 3, it's not the end of the world. It's like, hey, look, it was a series. But I think they want to come out of LA with some confidence.
Wait a minute, did you just say the 3 teams from the National League to possibly go to the World Series are the Braves, the Dodgers, and the Cubs? You left out the Padres?
Oh, I've really left out the Padres. I think the Padres have been overachieving. I love their style of play. They've been playing as a team, and I think they can get better because they're really not hitting to this point. I just don't think they have the depth to sit there and go toe to toe with these other teams. And the Braves are only going to get healthier, which is the scariest part. If Spencer Strider returns to anything close to what he was before, and they bring up, get back a couple of these other pitchers that were, Schellenbach back to where he's close to what he was, this is going to be a really good Braves team at the end of the season.
I swear, if we went on a show like the friendship or the sports radio or whatever, the sports talk show version of the Newlywed Game. And my question was, because you're offset. All right, Steve says that a team that's doing really well is not going to go all the way. That's all the information we're giving you, Rob. What's his reasoning? I guarantee you I'm going to say depth, and I'm going to be right 99.5 out of 100 times. Let's jump to the American League Central. You mentioned the White Sox, who are sitting there in the middle, and I'm still going, are we supposed to be paying attention to them? 4 of the 5 teams are playing each other this weekend. Guardians are in first place by a game and a half over the Tigers, who are trying to figure out what to do with Scooble out for months and Valdez's head exploding. Then you've got the Royals are 2.5 back. The Twins are 3.5 back. The Guardians beat the Royals 8-5 yesterday. Here's what you got this weekend. Cleveland hosts a weekend series against Minnesota. The Guardians will throw Messick tonight. 3-1 with the 2.4. The Twins will throw Prilip. Don't know him. 1-0, 3.86 ERA.
Yes, and the Guardians right now is the only team winning. I mean, they're riding a 2-game winning streak. Everyone else in the divisions lost more than 2. And this Messick, if you remember, he's the guy who took the no-hitter into the 9th inning a couple of starts ago. He is a good, young, promising pitcher. Prilip is a decent pitcher. The Twins have hope for him. He's been all right to this point. But Cleveland, they're starting to score some runs. Had a nice series against KC, winning those last 2 after they had that 3-game losing streak going on. The Guardians are the Guardians. They just continue to be there. Every year I discount them. I'm like, look, they're not that good. They find a way to turn their pitching over to be good. And give you an idea how good Messick has been. His ERA, I mean, his whip is 0.92 right now. It's under 1. Anyone under 1 is having an outstanding season. And you got to put him up there as one of those young pitchers that's having a great year.
This is the American League Central. I cannot figure out because, like I said, I don't know what to think of the White Sox. Are they surprisingly for real, or are they the White Sox? Because my gut is to say they're the White Sox, and I don't believe in the Twins. Seems to me like they've figured out where they belong, last place. The Royals, the Tigers, they're just clopping along trying to figure out what to do. The Guardians, I don't know, but that's your other series. Is that Kansas City hosts Detroit. So for this weekend, 4 of the 5 teams are maybe just going to beat up on each other, and this thing won't tighten up, or will just tighten up rather than separate it all.
Yeah, I think it's going to tighten up. I really think this division's going to stay close throughout the entire season there. And sorry, I'm going to jump to the White Sox, but they're going to fade, just like the Rockies. They're going to fade, and we're going to see it. But I'm not ready to say they are the White Sox because I love the way they're playing. Will Venable has them bunting. They're moving runners over. They have essentially what feels like the same roster they've had the last couple of seasons, but they're doing things. They're winning games. They're playing good baseball. They're only 3 games under 500. So, okay. So back to the Tigers and the Royals here. Montero against Bubic. Montero has been really good for them so far. He's a good young pitcher for them. The Tigers, Riley Green's got to get going. He's been hitting the ball. Spencer Torkelson came up with a big home run for him the other night. And if you get a chance, we keep saying it, Kevin McGonigal, their shortstop. This kid is a stud. He's still hitting over 300, I believe. And Kansas City, it's kind of the Bobby Witt Jr. show. I mean, Pasquantino's hitting under 200. We keep expecting him to do something. He hits third for him. Salvador Perez, he's been that big bat in the lineup for many years for the Royals. He's getting up there in age. He's hitting under 200 as well. So the big bats for KC have not got going there. And I'm hoping the Tigers can hold off on that Scooble injury. Hopefully it's only 4 weeks like he's hoping, and stay right there in that race with the Guardians. But KC, they got to get their bats to wake up.
By the way, you mentioned Bobby Witt Jr. had 4 hits last night, matching his career high. Let's jump back to just a couple more real quick. The American League East, where it's the Yankees, best team in baseball, tied, but only a half game over the Tampa Bay Rays. Everybody else is 9 games or more back. Chandler Simpson broke a 6-inning tie with a 2-run single. Tampa Bay won their 7th straight by beating the Red Sox 8-4 last night. See, if you just go and you look at the standings, you see the Yankees are up. You might notice they're only a half game up. You look at, the Yankees, they've won 1 in a row. Big deal. Oh, my God, the Rays have won 7 in a row. Wow. Well, guess what? Over their last 10, Yankees are 8-10. Rays are 9-1. These two teams are both white hot. They're right at each other. And this weekend, it's all about the Rays and the Red Sox. Last night was the opener. They play the second of a 4-game series tonight. Tampa Bay is throwing Schultens against Early. That's a pretty good pitching matchup.
Yeah, Early is one of the young kids for the Red Sox. A lot of promising, and to expand on the Rays, they won 14 out of 15. This team is even hotter than the Cubs have been. And watching it early on, I'm like, okay, the Red Sox are in it, and then Tampa Bay just took over this game. Caminero, another homer, 2 for 4. The Rays team is a good team. I still have to believe they're going to fade. As you said, they got Schulten's going tonight. His whips 1-4. He's been all right, but they keep finding ways to win, even when they appear to be outmatched. Red Sox had gone into this 3-game winning streak. High hopes. Hey, look, let's take Tampa Bay down. No, it wasn't really a contest here. I'm hoping Early can get it done, but my confidence in the Red Sox is really slipping because I already knew the Yankees were a far better team. I'm coming to the conclusion that Tampa Bay, even though we don't know who they are, is a far better run team than the Red Sox. Abreu for the Red Sox keep hitting. Contreras has gotten it going, but they're just not hitting for power. They're just not hitting in clutch situations, leaving a lot of runners on base, and it's just not playing good in Boston.
It's ridiculous, but it's not. I mean, we're 2 months from the All Star break, give or take. Is At what point do the Orioles, the Blue Jays, and the Sox, I mean, depending on how things change, look up and go, we're sellers this year, aren't we? I mean, we're talking nine, 9.5, and 10 games back now. If the Yankees keep yankeeing, all indications are there's nothing but help coming, and never mind what the Rays are doing. We could, I mean, at some point they might be looking around going, well, there's no season next season, and we're not going anywhere this season. Let's get something stockpiled.
And let's look at that. The Red Sox farm system is really loaded. They have all these young kids up. I mean, they're sitting at 6-11 at home. You can't do that and expect to even contend for a playoff spot. So what are they doing? They're going to sell their young kids off for more young kids. That to me is not a rebuild. So I can't see the Red Sox doing anything. The Blue Jays, a big part of theirs has just been injuries. They haven't been healthy. Their pitching has not lived up to form. Savage is finally back. He's the guy who went Game 7 in the World Series for him, had a great postseason last year. He's just getting back. So I don't see the Blue Jays getting there. It comes to the Orioles. And I could really see the Orioles become sellers because they have good young talent that just hasn't produced yet. They got Jackson Holiday there. They have 2 catchers now. Does Adley Rushman, who's having a really nice year, does he get moved on? Because they have Basello, a really good young catcher sitting there who's DHing. I think the Orioles is that team that could really blow it up, and we'll see what they do. But they got to start winning. They have to win these series. They're not doing it. They got the A's coming up tonight too.
Speaking of, that's the last one we'll look at. JT Ginn pitched 8 stellar innings. It was very Paul Skeens-esque in the sense of just let him go out in the 9th. They didn't. I understand why. Zach Geloff homered, triple, drove in 3 runs. A's 12-1 over the Phillies. Phillies had some Mattingly magic going. I mean, it's just one game. A's avoided a 3-game sweep. Shea Langoliers, Rooker, Wilson all went deep. Nick Kurtz, 31 games in a row now that he's been on base. He walked yesterday. So the A's in Baltimore, as you mentioned, Steve. 3-game series. It's Lopez against Bradish tonight. Tomorrow, the A's are throwing Savali. Sunday, they're throwing Severino. This again, this is another one of those. If the A's can get hot, stay hot, push more of the Orioles, into irrelevancy. Instead, the A's, they're doing this bounce around thing now. They're hot, cold, hot, cold, hot, cold.
Yeah, and unfortunately, Lopez has not been good. This guy's whip is over 1.8. He's almost putting 2 runners on every inning he goes out there. Great game for the A's, though, last night. Those are the kind of games you like. It pads your average, brings them up, but it gives the team some confidence. So hopefully you can put some wins in a row here. It'd be nice for them to, close out this road with taking 2 out of 3. You need to get to 3-3 on this 6-game road trip. So I'll be pulling for them, but the Orioles just continue to just flounder there. At times they look good, just like the A's. But the A's, Kurtz, bright spot. He's hitting the ball. And again, last night, big game. Hopefully they can build on it.
It's the Rob and Steve Sports Show, only on the radnetwork.com.
Longtime maggots will remember Greg from MAP. MAP, as in Maximum Athletic Performance, which guides you to better output through better ingredients, also known as nutrition. Greg has been on the Rad Show many times and will be again, as he simplifies nutrition and helps us all understand what actually works when it comes to fueling our bodies, almost all of which can be found at maptrition.com. Every product is formulated with clinical precision and backed by science and purpose, and maptrition.com has something for every fitness level, even those of us who barely have a fitness level. With nearly 20 years as a nutritionist and a specialization in sports nutrition, Greg works with athletes and everyday individuals to optimize performance, energy, and overall health through smarter fueling strategies, all of which starts at maptrition.com. At the very least, we should all be taking daily multivitamins, and Greg has his formulated for exactly what a man or woman's body needs. Protein is in, but maybe instead of getting yours from mac and cheese with extra protein, you get it from maptrition.com. And of course, all things workout, training, and exercise are available as well. From pre-workout to creatine and other muscle builders to recovery supplements and more, all at maptrition.com. From morning breakfast essentials to post-workout recovery and everything in between, maptrition.com's full range of supplements, proteins, and wellness products are built to power your journey from start to finish. Check out all the products and find what's right for you and order it shipped to you all at maptrition.com. That's maptrition.com. Longtime advertiser Sue Berry, that's Berry with an A, is more important now than ever. Sue and her team have been serving Northern Nevada and the outlying areas for 30 years, and her experience in both commercial and residential lending is vital, as every day we're bombarded with news of interest rates, the market, the economy, and a bunch of other stuff that Sue can actually make sense of while everyone else's eyes glaze over. Now remember, it's Sue Berry with an A, B-A-R-R-Y, SueBerry.com. Most people think berry is spelled like a fruit or Halle Berry, but no, it's Sue Berry with an A, like soul singer Barry White's first name.
I've heard people say.
Stop that. Sue is a broker versus a retail lender, which means she can shop over 150 different lenders to get you the very best rate possible. And on average, someone who uses a broker like Sue saves over $10,000 per loan, which includes refinancing. And if you have a rate at 6.5% or higher, call Sue for a free quote now on a refinance. Sue Berry and her incredible team from Barrett Financial can be found at SueBerry.com. That's Berry with an A. I've been working with Sue and recommending her to you for years. All you need to do is call her now so she can get you pre-approved. Just call your residential and commercial lending expert, Sue Berry, at 775-843-9983. Oh, Rob, stop. You're going too fast. What was the number again? 775-843-9983. Or just head to SueBerry.com. The number's right there. Berry is B-A-R-R-Y. Sue Berry with an A.com. That's Sue Berry, B-A-R-R-Y.com. SueBerry.com.
Disclaimer, Sue Berry, NMLS number 366040. Barrett Financial Group, LLC, NMLS number 181106, Nevada 5091, Equal Housing Opportunity.
This is the Rob and Steve Sports Show. Call the show at 888-587-5355 or email the show at ras@theradnetwork.com.
I mentioned that if we had fun, or if we had time, rather, towards the end of the show, we would do like a fun little hypothetical NFL topic. But we didn't have to do it today. We have until middle of next week to get to it, which is what we're going to do. I don't want to rush you too much. Plus, it's fine. We have to do it before the schedule comes out, which we now know we'll get the international NFL schedule on Wednesday, the full schedule on Thursday. We do have a couple NFL notes to give you, though. The Minnesota Vikings agreed to terms with free agent receiver Juwan Jennings on a one-year deal worth $13 million yesterday, so they'll have a number 3 receiver behind Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison. Of course, Jennings, familiar name to Niner fans, had a hamstring injury, contract stalemate, kept him out most of training camp, returned to the Niners last season for the final year, battled through rib, ankle, shoulder issues for a chunk of the season. The story we kept hearing, Steve, was that Juwan Jennings wanted like wide receiver money, like twice what he got from the Vikings. Um, and he wound up taking the 13 million with the Vikings. I don't think the Niners were any worse for where I like Jennings. I thought it was a really good player. Other offseason moves that they made, I don't know that the Niners are any worse off. I don't know that Jennings is any worse or better off. Depends on how you feel about Kyler Murray throwing you the ball instead of Brock Purdy, I guess.
I didn't understand this at all. He's signing to be a number 3. I mean, he's not going to get anytime they run a 2 wide receiver set out there, he won't be on the field. He's never going to pass Justin Jefferson, and Addison's a far better wide receiver as well. A 1-year, $13 million contract. If I read an article correctly, he turned down a 3-year, $45 million contract. And I don't know who that was from. I don't know if that was a 49ers offer to him. I think he needs to fire his agent because I think he really did not understand the market, did not understand his market value. And I know he feels he is way more valuable than obviously what the teams thought. But if I'm going to go a 1-year deal with a, prove it type of contract, one, I prefer not to leave the system because I already know the system and I'm not learning an entirely new system so I can perform and the team knows me as well. And that may not have been an option with the 49ers, but I'm going somewhere where I know I'm going to be on the field like 70% of the offensive snaps, a large chunk. I'm not moving to be a number 3 with a Vikings team that I know I will never get to 2 unless there's an injury. I want to go to a team where I already know I'm going to be a 2 that likes to throw the ball for my 1-year prove it season.
There's something about the story that's wrong, and I don't know what it is. I don't. I mean, were the Niners more concerned about Jennings' injuries than we ever heard? Was it? Did he really ask for mid 20 million, et cetera? And how would everything have changed if Juwan Jennings was happy at 13 million or 15 million or whatever, instead of what we heard was he was saying Niners give me 25 or more? How would things have, would the Niners even gone after Mike Evans? How does this, I mean, first of all, I think they would have, because it's not like the Niners are stacked at receiver core. It's basically Ricky Pearsall, and now that, I mean, Mike Evans is basically the de facto number 1 receiver. And then they draft the kid. Who knows what we're going to get out of that? So it's a very strange story. I mean, Jennings could have definitely been the number 2 receiver, if not potentially the number 1 receiver for the Niners.
And I took it because they didn't say who it was, but I took it as the Niners offered him 3-year, $45 million, and he walked away from that offer to take a 1-year, $13 million. Don't you go back to the Niners and say, hey, is that 3-year, $45 million still on that? Tell you what, I'll do a 1-year, $15 million with you, because to me, that's a far better opportunity for a 1-season prove it deal than going to Minnesota.
Yeah. I don't know how much anybody cares, unless it's like a basketball story that's out there, right? Vegas is going to get an expansion team. Depending on timing, would LeBron James be part owner of the team? Okay, Tom Brady, part owner of the Raiders. Those are the times I think a lot of times people care about who owns the team. I don't know. I really don't know how much other time people, once somebody becomes an owner, they can become better known, Jerry Jones, things like that. How much do we care about who's going to buy the Seahawks? Well, last week, a report that we discussed said that Zuckerberg and Tim Cook, so you got Facebook versus Apple, Meta versus Apple, we're contemplating making bids for the Seahawks. Now, Sportico has identified 2 other potential bidders. For what it's worth, Zuckerberg and Cook's camp denied those reports. Of course, they're going to do that. One of the 2 new groups includes one of the limited partners who owns the Boston Celtics, and the other is led by a guy who just became a limited partner with the 49ers, and now he's looking to be part of the Seahawks. Obviously, one of those would have to go away. It's expected the Seahawks will sell for $9 to $11 billion, which will shatter the record set by the Commanders 3 years ago. Like I said, Steve, I see that headline. I'm like, am I supposed to care who buys them? We don't know anything about how they're going to run the team or anything.
I think the Seahawk fans need to care who buys the team, because you want an owner that's going to vest in the players, build a championship, hire the right people, not come in and just, oh, hey, it's a little toy. yeah, this is fun. I own them. I can go to their games now and watch and play around with the franchise. So, but outside of the team, I don't think it really matters. One of the things I would ask you, because I saw on it that the NFL, I think, came out and said the bidding has been slow. They thought the market would be a lot hotter than what it is. And you know, I'm not political, and this is where I don't know this, but I know that there's a lot of places with that welfare tax.
Mhm.
Um, does Washington have it? And if so, does that play a factor? Because if I'm going to spend 9 or 10 billion to buy the Seahawks, but then it's going to cost me another 1 or 2 billion in some, well, some rich
Right.
tax because the state's going after that. I'm not going to bid as high because I already know I got to spend this additional money. And I just wonder if things like that play a factor in any way.
Another thing you wonder about, I did some self-imposed homework only because I saw a story and it was easy to do. Um, and there are things that we posit where the results, believe it or not, don't matter. For example, um, just because you get away with something doesn't make it a good idea. We all remember those mornings in our 20s where we wake up and we forget how we got home. Does that mean it was a really good idea what we did the night before? No. No. So I'm not suggesting that any sort of stat would change the position. And it's a position I agree with you on, Steve. You're just more vocal about it. The World Baseball Classic being played in May makes no sense for American Major League Baseball. It's too risky. It's too dangerous, and you've got way too much control. All the teams. I mean, when you were watching the World Baseball Classic, this was half the story. Oh, such and such a team called down and said, "Don't throw this guy, don't play this guy, don't do this guy." We do I have your position essentially correct? We agree. Don't do it in March. Figure out where to do it. I don't know, December. Get rid of the All Star break. Although injuries are still an issue. Your issue is don't hurt the players. It's a stupid time.
Yes, could you imagine you miss the playoffs by one game and Tyreek Scooble's your pitcher because you're the Tigers, and he missed 5 starts because he had an injury from playing in the World Baseball Classic.
How do we know that's not exactly what happened? This is what prompted the story. Something called the World Baseball Classic hangover. No secret that as much as MLB embraces the World Baseball Classic and players love participating, there are risks. Maybe it's just a cruel coincidence, but the landscape is littered with pitchers who have been injured and others who have struggled in the early going. You can go back or you can just look at this year. You alluded to one, Scooble. Now, the standout on the other side, of course, is Pittsburgh Pirates Cy Young winner Paul Skeens. Just Wednesday, went out and throws 8 innings. I wish I would have let him go 9. 2 base runners, shutout game in 8 innings. He was actually in his hotel room texting Tariq Skubal when he found out he's out for months, that the two-time Cy Young winner from Detroit is getting surgery. They were teammates, obviously on Team USA. Skubal did go under surgery in LA on Wednesday. He's going to be out at least 2 months. His surgery comes 2 weeks after LA Dodgers closer Edwin Diaz underwent elbow surgery to remove those loose bodies in his elbow. He pitched for Team Puerto Rico in the WBC. Chicago Cubs closer Daniel Palencia closed out the WBC for Venezuela. He's on the IL, has been since April with a strained oblique. Cubs starter Matthew Boyd went on the IL with a bicep strain in April. Then he got a freak knee injury to his meniscus this Wednesday, playing with his kids. That's where, absent father, he'd be a better pitcher. Giants ace Logan Webb. What's this left knee discomfort that has him at 2-4 and a 5.06? Michael Lorenzen. He pitched for Italy, 2-3 with a 6.09 ERA for the Rockies this year. It is the Rockies. Tyjon Walker pitched for Mexico. He's 1-4 with a 9.13 ERA. Well, he was for the Phillies release. There's only a couple examples. Skeens, who says he feels perfectly fine, and he's picked up right where he left off in last year's Cy Young season. 5-2 with a 2.36 ERA, right? Ronher Suarez of the Boston Red Sox, Skeens, and Arizona Diamondback starter Eduardo Rodriguez, who's 3-0 with a 2.50, are thriving and looking great. That's about it. I'm not saying this proves your theory, and we don't know that every single one of these that I rattled off, and there's more, I just recognize I didn't need to keep giving them to you, are all directly related to the WBC. But anecdotally, this ain't good, and that's why I started it the way I did, not knowing that you were going to bring up Scooble. You said, hey, what if? Well, how do we know that's not what happened? Maybe that's why the Tigers don't have Scooble for 2 months.
Which is why I've never been a fan of the baseball classic from the get-go. I sitting here, and Edwin Diaz was lost to the Mets for a whole season when they played the last time they had the WBC because he got hurt in that one and was out for the year. Now he's out for the Dodgers again this year. As a fan, I want to see my team win. I get the Olympics and I watch them and we can root for Team USA. I really don't want to root for Team USA in the WBC. I want my team to be healthy. I want to win a World Series, a championship there. Maybe it's time in my world to let the minor league players go, give them some of attention, put them on the center stage. And what a great way for us as fans to get to know some of these players that we don't know anything about. We could have seen Spencer Jones, and now that he's coming up, like, hey, we watched Spencer Jones play for Team USA or whatever team, and give us some excitement for the youth in the game to give them that exposure before they hit the major leagues so we can then cheer for them as well. I would much rather prefer that, because if Spencer Jones goes down in the WBC and doesn't help the Yankees this year, as a Yankees fan, I'm not devastated. I'm like, yeah, he's one of our young kids. He's still got time. He'll be back next year when we move forward. But if Aaron Judge goes down and my season's over, I'm devastated.
I still don't like it in March. See, I'd rather. I actually love your idea, minor leaguers, but put it in December or something. Because there's already winter ball. I realize guys are playing. I realize they can get hurt, but March is because I enjoyed watching the WBC, and I enjoyed not just the patriotic USA thing, but then also seeing all these guys that like in the NBA that play in the major leagues. I'm like, hey, he's from Italy. Italy has a real team. That was fun, just not in March. There's some type of overlying anxiety.
But I don't think it would ever go in December, because if I'm an established major league player that's quality, a star, I'm not giving up my off season to go take part in the WBC. The major leagues has backed it. To my knowledge, the major leagues is also pushing a lot of these players to participate, because earlier on they didn't want to, and Major League Baseball kind of pushed their hand that you need to be a part of this to help promote it. So now it's like, look, I'm here spring training anyway. Instead of playing with my team uniform on, I'm playing wearing Team USA. Yeah, it's kind of cool. So I don't think they really can move it anywhere that's going to make sense, because if I'm Aaron Judge, I'm not giving up my off season. I'm planning on playing to the end of October. I already have to show up February 13th, right in that neighborhood, for spring training. Am I really giving up my month of December for this? No chance.
Have a great weekend. Lots of sports, lots of big sports. Hopefully, we'll be back here to talk about them on Monday.
This has been a presentation of the Rob and Steve Sports Show, brought to you by the Rad Network, and is copyrighted by the radnetwork.com and Williams Broadcasting for the private use of our audience. Any reproduction, accounts, or descriptions of whatever Rob and Steve just talked about without the express permission of the Rad Network, Williams Broadcasting,